I'm not a scientist. I play one on the science committee, but I'm not a scientist. And so for me, climate change just has to come in a commonsensical kind of way. And what I see is this. Since the Industrial Revolution, we've been pulling up hydrocarbons out of the ground in the form of oil or coal, and we've been burning them. When you do that, you get CO2. And we, I think, pretty much agree that what happens with CO2 is when it gets in the atmosphere, the sunlight comes in, but the radiant heat isn't able to escape. It sort of becomes a greenhouse. That's creating, many agree, an increase in the Earth's temperatures. In fact, I think everybody agrees with that. The thing that is the dispute is whether that's human-caused or not human-caused. But it just seems to make sense to me, as again, not a scientist, but just common sense, that if you're pulling up hydrocarbons that have been out of the system for a long time, they were once plant material and animals that got put under pressure and heat and rotted down there, and it turned into either oil or coal. If you pull that up, burn it, you're going to put a lot of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. So that sort of commonsensical thing matches up with some pretty sophisticated science in places like Antarctica, where what they're doing is they're doing ice core drillings at the South Pole. 5,000 feet of ice on top of 5,000 feet of dirt at the South Pole. And it's a desert. They get a quarter of an inch of precipitation a year. So in that 5,000 feet of ice, they have an incredible record of the Earth's atmosphere, how much CO2 has been in the atmosphere over time. And what they've found is that a long period of stability followed by the Industrial Revolution with a real uptick in the amount of CO2. So the science just sort of seems to confirm what's common sense, that it's been going a long time, you pull it up, you start burning it, you have a lot of CO2. But even if you don't buy the scientific explanation, even if you think it's a bunch of hooey, there's still two reasons to act on climate change. And those are, one is, by reinventing the car and creating the fuels of the future, we can create jobs in South Carolina and other car-producing states. And we can also improve the national security of the United States by no longer being dependent on that hydrocarbon we're pulling up out of the ground called oil. And if we can get off of that and get onto the fuels of the future, then we'll improve the national security of the United States, we'll create jobs, and as a byproduct, we'll reduce the level of CO2 in the atmosphere. So even if it turns out that that wasn't necessary and that really all this was a natural cause and it had nothing to do with human activity, still we'd be wise to try to focus on something that reduces CO2, because you create jobs with those new technologies and you improve the national security of the United States. A lot of people say it's doom and gloom about climate change, but I think it's promise and opportunity. I mean, why not seize this opportunity and say, even if the climate change thing turns out to be something we didn't need to worry about, we know we need to create jobs, and we definitely know we need to improve the national security of the United States by getting off of this addiction to oil. So it's really an incredible opportunity for us.